Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. I'm Bowtie Dave. We talk mostly about life in the garden. And we are looking at the third and final part of the garden tours, our raised garden beds. And it's very exciting what's going on out here. It is January 7th. I got the first two parts recorded yesterday. Today is Sunday, January 7th, 2024. Cannot believe that it's sleeve weather out here. It is 57 degrees Fahrenheit. It's beautiful. It is overcast. Yesterday was clear, but let's get on with the intro first and we can start talking about what we got. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So first things first, please subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and don't miss any of these garden tours. I do this every single month and look at the progress of every single item that I have in the garden. Basically, this is my own log. It's my own video log of the things going on in the garden. I've tried writing in journals. I've tried doing photography with stuff, and this just works best for my brain, my ADD brain, and it's just what I've decided to adopt as far as my methodology. But anyway, first things first, I talked briefly about the weather. This morning we woke up and we had overcast weather. You saw the first two parts of this garden tour. You saw that we had sunny day, and the sun shone all day with the beautiful sunset at the end of the second part of this video tour. And it's been like that mostly since last September. We have had very few cold days. And I say cold days, I'm calling it a cold day for the sake of this, anything below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Nowhere near freezing. We haven't had anything near freezing. We have had 4 days below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 39-degree days, and last week we had a 37-degree day for the first time. And our forecast doesn't look that cold. So normally we get frosts most winters, not all winters. So 2 winters ago, Christmas of 2021, we didn't have a single frost that winter. Now, interestingly enough, across on the other side of the bay, and I talk about this a lot through my videos, the other side of the bay where the wind blows, doesn't have any water to blow across, they had frosts just 10 miles over there. Hard to believe, but we have this moderating feature, the water, the bay behind us, the Gulf of Mexico in front of us this way, and it kind of moderates our temperature. It's really amazing for growing seasons. Now, this cold temperature we had last Christmas of 2022, it was a record breaker. It killed my citrus trees, killed a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, and did some real damage. So we're still recovering from some of that. Okay, so that's the weather. The next thing is we have our brand new drone video aerial photos and property map that are more current, and I'm very excited to be using them this month for the first time. They look great. Had a fella come out who actually lives in our old apartment complex, and he's doing drone photography as a business here in town in Destin. And if you're in the greater Destin area and you need some aerial drone video or photography work done, he's the guy. He does really good. He's very official. He got FAA approval. He called the tower. Remember, we live near several airports, and he has to get clearance to fly his drone in the air because it's a restricted zone. So he called the tower. That was very interesting to see, and we flew the drone around, got some photos, got some videos. Very, very excited with what we were able to get, just so we can kind of get a picture of the small property that we're on here. So we're looking at a property that's 100 feet wide and 106 feet deep. It's not a very big property, folks. You don't need a big ranch to grow a lot of food. We grew well over 300 pounds of food last year, and I'm hoping for more this year. But we had a lot. I gave away a lot of food, and that's something that I really have enjoyed. But this urban property, this suburb property, We are in the heart of Old Destin. This is a community of properties that are all approximately the same size. And if you even have a small yard, you can grow a lot of food. And that's something we just have really enjoyed doing. We preserve our food, and some of it we freeze, some of it we put in cans, some of it we dry. So we've been doing a lot of stuff with that, and just experimenting with different methods. But anyway, yeah, new aerial photography. So we're going to have a new map of the raised beds. And you'll see here is the property. We're going to extract the bed area out, and we're going to put this in the corner down here and lower right hand corner of the screen, and we'll have this red circle that will show you where in the garden you're looking at. So you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing, a better idea of what we're doing and where things go. So I have been doing a lot of work trying to flip our beds in the garden, getting ready for next growing season. We have a lot of stuff going in. You can see behind me, there's some cleared beds down here. Even down the end over there, we'll take a closer look at those and talk about what I'm doing with those. I talked a little bit about it in the second part of this month's video tour, and I'm going to be rehashing that again because some people just, it's funny because, okay, it's not really intuitive. So when people don't understand, I get it. It seems weird. I'll admit it. So we'll address that again, and maybe I can share it in a different way. I don't know. But I do have some video of me doing the process a little bit more, and maybe you can understand what's going on. We do have 3 raised beds out here. We have a GreenStalk right here, which we planted up for the first time this year. I'm experimenting with some new stuff in it this year. So let's go ahead and turn the camera. I'm hoping that it doesn't rain. I don't remember there being forecast in the rain for today. I didn't think it was supposed to start till late tomorrow. So we'll have to see if we can make this video tour today. I'm going to be pretty aggressive here and try to get through this and make sure that we can have a complete video tour. It takes me a while to edit these things. They're long. There's a lot involved, a lot of parts to them. And so it takes me a while to edit them and get them rendered and then get them uploaded and everything else. So appreciate your patience. This is the 7th, and it's going to be a week or two until you get to see it, unfortunately, because of all the work that has to go into it. But yeah, so let's get right on with the GreenStalk. And here on the GreenStalk, you can see we have lots and lots of stuff growing. In fact, I got a call from one of my neighbors, and they said, "Hey, do you happen to have any fresh basil?" They were making pizza, I found out. And I said no, because I remember I cleaned out the basil out of like the strawberry patch and the asparagus patch, the bean patch, the upper 2 tier gardens, and here in one of these raised beds. And then I thought, wait a minute, I got a GreenStalk with basil. And I actually came out here, and there was a fresh, I don't know, 4 or 5 leaves on top of, well, just like that right there. Just a few leaves right on the tippy top of these things that were just perfect. Oh, I can smell it already. Every one of these things that I pinched off the top. We don't eat a lot of basil ourselves, so I did not mind giving away those last little bits of basil. That's what they're here for. Oh, see, there's another one, 2 or 3 leaves right there. And so this thing does get spun around every once in a while. See, there's more basil. So, and most of it hadn't gone to seed. Now this here has gone to seed, which has a tendency to change the flavor. Well, it's not quite gone to seed, but change the flavor of the basil just a little bit. It's pretty strong stuff. We've got cauliflower, we got broccoli. I don't think I put any Brussels sprouts in here. I really don't remember though. I've never grown, well, I haven't grown a lot in these things at all. So this is truly an experiment. I even have a couple of Dino Kale down here in the bottom. We got parsley. We of course got strawberries. That's the popular thing to grow in here. All kinds of strawberries growing through here. These are some of my Walmart seed strawberries. And I think I've got a couple of the sweet berry strawberries. But here's just a small one that's newer. And if I pick through here, see now this one here, it's going to start producing here pretty soon. Oh, looky there. There's a strawberry I completely missed. A couple of blooms. I'll have to trim all this brown stuff out and get this cleaned up. But the strawberries are looking strong. Everything's looking strong here. Parsley in here is looking decent. But anyway, so this GreenStalk just has really done well. I am concerned about the way these stems kind of droop down and then start back up. I may end up having to somehow tie these up so that they grow better. I don't know. I've never done this before, so we're kind of experimenting with this together. So bed number 1. You can see I got the wheelbarrow and a shovel out. Yep, I've actually been shoveling. And you can see here in the bed behind here, look at that, no weeds. Okay, it's freshly cardboard mulched. Now, I know a lot of people do cardboard mulch and they understand how it works. It is not exactly a completely intuitive thing. It seems weird that you're putting virtually trash in the garden. Now, the thing about cardboard is nearly all cardboard is made of recycled wood product. And so it's a natural fiber that doesn't matter in the garden because it can be composted. Very few kinds of corrugated cardboard are not compostable. Very few. In fact, you'd be hard pressed to find some that are not compostable, and they're typically only used in very specialized applications. But this is actually, the whole thing here has 2 layers of double-walled corrugated in it. In fact, if I come down over here, you can see all the corrugation right there. That's 2 layers of corrugation, of double wall corrugation. So double wall down the bottom, double wall at the top. And that's a pretty thick layer. Now, it's not perfect. You can see there is a little bit of a gap here, and that doesn't matter. I'm not worried about it. I put some of the soil over it, and it's going to basically keep most of that cardboard, or I keep calling it cardboard, corrugation. I have a friend years ago that used to work in a corrugation factory, and he always corrected me, and I try to respect that. Anyway, so you can see, like, look right under the surface there. That stuff is wet. This stuff will keep that corrugation wet. Now, here's the thing. Underneath here is actually some really good soil. There's just a lot of weeds in it I haven't tended to this year because this year was a very difficult year. We were extremely busy. I didn't get out here nearly as often as I wanted to. And so this corrugated will smother the weeds, number 1. It's going to smother all those weeds, kill a lot of them. And when it kills them off, it makes a lot of organic material. The roots rot. It leaves loose soil, which is good for the new stuff that's going on here. Now, this is not done. I lost my Durango recently. I know I've said it a few times. That was my vehicle to pull a trailer. Our other vehicle is a Prius. I'm borrowing one from a friend. None of the 2 vehicles we have right now can pull my trailer, and so I can't go get my compost. But I will be going and getting compost, and I will be putting anywhere between 4 to 8 inches on top of this soil. And so that cardboard is going to be completely buried. I'll be honest, that little section right there on the edge, that may not get buried. But that's okay because as the corrugated rots, that stuff will just lift right off. So I'm not really worried about that either. So the story isn't over with the corrugation, folks. First thing that's going to come to this corrugation is going to be worms. Now, earthworms are something that you want in your garden. They're one of the first living creatures that make your soil in the garden the required living soil that you want in here. And those earthworms come in here and they start eating the bottom of this corrugation. They actually will live in the corrugation, in the folds of the corrugation as they eat it, and it actually serves as a blanket, especially on these colder days. They really do like it, and it's good for them. And so they eat, they poop, they bring other biome in the soil, other microbes and fungus and all the things that we want in our soil that will process the nutrients that will feed the plants that we're going to put in here. Now, Not sure what I'm going to be planting here. I think I'm doing tomatoes on this side this next year. I haven't done tomatoes over here in this area yet since we've moved here. I am going to be putting ginger and turmeric back inside this area. I will be planting them a little thicker. They're going to be going further back up behind this trellis here. Not sure what's going to go on this trellis other than the blackberries. And there's tons of these blackberries growing everywhere. In fact, you can see the just mess of blackberry vines back here. I'm trying to let these grow this year. I want to see if we can get a good amount of blackberries so we can get some blackberry jam. Now this back here in the back, in fact, I'm going to go step right over to that side of the bed, because from here you get a really good view across what was the okra bed. This is where we had those 12-foot tall okra plants, and I put down the cardboard. Again, it's going to be filled up above. You see the white brick right there? This white brick here? It's going to be filled up with compost above that white brick, about an inch or two above that. So it's going to have a lot more soil on this when it's ready to plant for the next season. Now, the compost that we get, in fact, I'm hoping to bring you along this time when we go get it. It is from an equestrian center. And they have a literal mountain that would cover our property and 3 adjoining properties under 30 or 4, actually more than that. I think it's probably closer to 6 properties, 20 or 30 feet deep in compost. Some of that compost has been sitting there for over 20 years. It is beautiful stuff. And they get the tractor out, bucket a few buckets into my trailer, and I bring it back and I fill these beds with this beautiful, beautiful old compost. It's amazing stuff. So that's what I'm going to be filling these with. It's truly processed. The concern about they say, oh, horse manure has salt. Well, it's not horse manure, it's horse bedding. And it's not hay, it is wood chip. Finally, wood sawdust really is what most of it is. And so it doesn't have the grazon in it. And additionally, it's been sitting there so long, any salts that might be a concern in horse compost, not there, because these things have been getting rained on for at least 6 years, but a lot of it's probably closer to 20 years. So I'm very happy with this compost. It's what I've been growing in. It's just beautiful stuff. I've really enjoyed having this free, and there's the key thing, folks, this free resource for compost so close to home. It's just wonderful. So just a few miles away. But anyway, over here we have, and I couldn't tell you which is which, because I just was very frustrated one day, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get something planted. I don't care what. And so I grabbed 4 cups, and I think there's 2 Brussels sprouts, and one of these is a cauliflower, one of these is a broccoli. I think that's how it is. They're really growing, though. I mean, they're just taking off. They get watered. They've been rained on, of course, but they get watered. I did swap to these little low elevation sprayers. They do a fantastic. I'm really pleased for my garden. Some people like the drip lines, and I actually did drip lines last year, but I like the spread on these better. It seems to do a better job on keeping this whole bed edge to edge wet. And of course it doesn't get into the plants because of these little rings right now. I should have taken those off. I might still be able to. Actually, no. I decided I wasn't going to do that because I want to fill this with soil, and I'm not going to fill those rings so that it can be more naturally the height of what it needs to be. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to do. I will be leaving these rings here. And so anyway, yeah, so this bed is going to get filled up, and all those weeds are going to get buried. A lot of those weeds, it won't matter. They'll grow back up, but they'll grow up slowly. But look at this tangle of blackberries in here. I am just so excited to see what this does this year. It'll be neat to have a lot of blackberries finally. We haven't had that yet in this property. Now that's bed number 1. I do want to show you real quick about the Solitaire Bee Box that we put up together. And we put this thing up together. We put this thing up together in another video, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. However, I did want to show you here. I'm going to call up on the wall here. Look here. Something actually built nests in here, and it hatched. There's 1, 2, and this one's actually sealed. This one's actually closed up. So something did come in here, and oh, there's another one right there, and there looks like another one right there. So something did come in here and build its nest and use this thing. I'm very excited about that. That's very exciting. I just think that's so cool. Now this up here is a ladybug hideout. I never saw any ladybugs in there, so I don't know. This was just something cheap I got at a hardware store. Nothing fancy. I think I want to go with something a little more fancy in the future though. So that is my solitary bee. Solitary bees do a little bit different. Now I was told this is a peach tree. I'm gonna find out what this is this next year. I don't know what this is. We'll have to see. That's where we got the turmeric from. No more turmeric there. And we're coming over to bed number 2. Now, bed number 2, when we bought this house 2.5 years ago almost, 2.25 years, we had a single, or actually 2 Dino kale plants. And I had never liked kale. And someone, I think it was Jess over at Roots and Refuge, said, if you've never liked kale, try Dino kale. And so I took her word for it, and I started testing it and eating it, and I really learned to like this Dino kale. It has a really wonderful flavor to it. And so last year I didn't plant any, and I'll tell you what, I missed it. I missed having kale. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I got 3 kale plants here, and actually over there we already saw in the GreenStalk there's another 2 plants there. So we're going to have a ton of kale. My first plants that I had from when we moved in here actually grew 6 foot tall, so these things would grow big. But yeah, this is bed number 2. There is actually a blackberry plant here, a single one, and I'm just kind of letting them go, seeing what they're going to do. But a lot of the weeds, I've been doing better now that I'm not traveling so much like I did the past summer. I'm keeping better cleaned out here. This is where we had some cucumbers. They're all cleared out, of course. Coming down here, the bean trellis along this backside here, I let a lot of beans go to seed. So I actually have a whole bunch of Blue Lake Strinless pole bean seeds and for next year. And we will be growing these again. I'm going to be rearranging this. This has to come, this whole cattle panel needs to come down, I don't know, at least a foot. And then that one that's sitting up on top is actually going to hang underneath this cross piece so that we will have shade cloth in this area next year. That was one of the challenges that we faced that we didn't have to face, caused some problems. So looking along here in the front, we have a few pepper plants. We have the Peppadew right here. In fact, Mrs. Bowtie, who doesn't normally eat hot peppers, she sliced one of these up in a salad, and she said it was very mild, tasted very good, and she would do that again. So these Peppadews, and I think what we're going to do, we're going to try to pickle these or candy them. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do something with these leftover Peppadew. We got to find out fast because we got a whole bunch of them about to be ready to be harvested. You'll see here. So we have the Thai Hot and Dragon Cayennes here. The Thai Hots, you can see they more stick up when they're on the plant. And the Dragon Cayennes, like this right here, they hang down mostly. And so you can't tell the difference when they're off the plant because they look exactly the same. You have to know what they are when you pick them. But yeah, I got a Thai Hot, Dragon Cayenne, Thai Hot, Dragon Cayenne. Not sure why I mixed them up like that. My brain just does weird things. And then we have a couple more Peppadew plants over here. And that takes us into the beginning of the tomato monster. Now I got the seeds for this tomato plant from the daughter of Dave the Good. He has his own YouTube channel. He talks a lot about some really interesting concepts in growing a garden, and he does a lot of real neat experimentation. But these are Everglades tomatoes, and they're a small tomato, as you can see here. They grow bigger. In fact, you can see down there, there are some larger ones. They got a wonderful flavor. It's like a little piece of tomato candy. But there are, in fact, okay, hey, we can actually see. There are back here. There's a plant. That's not it, is it? This isn't all from that one plant, is it? Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. That is that right there. Now these here are dead Super Sweet 100 plants. That massive trunk right there is this Everglades tomato. And let me show you something. That thing is growing. It grew all the way over there. It covered this trellis all the way over to here. And it's just covering, goes up the beam. In fact, let me walk. You can see right there, there's actually tomatoes. There's all kinds of tomatoes still here. And these still are so good. They're like refrigerated out here and they're delicious. But look, it keeps going. We're talking, this thing has gone about 12, maybe 16 feet in multiple directions all the way up. In fact, I'm trying to back up here so you can see the full scope. It ends right there. This is it. This is half of it. In fact, that pole right there is at 8 feet from the end there. It goes across the top, down, and across through this mess into that trunk. Trunk, not stem, that trunk of an Everglades tomato over in the far corner there. That just blows my mind. This is definitely going to be a permanent part of my garden. Now, I will admit, I've had these tomatoes drop everywhere over the past several months, so we're going to have so many volunteers in this area. But this is what blows my mind right here even more. January 5th, it is still giving buds. In fact, I did a short here just not too long ago showing several of the buds. I hadn't even seen these. There's more buds on the other side of us over here. Yeah, just amazing, prolific producer. Yeah, Everglades tomatoes. I'm in Destin, Florida. Wow. I know Dave the Good is farther south than I am here in Florida. But he touted the prolific production of these things, and he was not wrong. He was most definitely not wrong. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. So that's bed number 2. And, I mean, you can see all of them are falling on the ground. Now this is going to get corrugated mulched, and it's going to have to add another, I don't know, 8 inches, 10 inches to it to make it usable for next year. So most of those seeds won't grow anyway. So yeah, other side, you can see this thing just looks like a mess. And there's a lot of dead branching in here all the way through here. This is all spent, but it's still producing. Somehow this thing is still going. Just amazing. So past bed number 2, we have our aloe patch, which is looking beautiful, of course. And I'm hoping this year we'll have some blooms come out of this finally. We didn't have any this past year because of the freeze we had over Christmas of 2022. And that takes us into, would you believe this pepper bed is still producing? Now, this is the pepper bed that's been growing for 1.5 years. It actually made it through the 18-degree freeze on Christmas of 2022. The way it did that, you'll notice there is some metal in there. There's 2 8-foot cattle panels in there. And I put plastic over this and closed it up, and I actually used the white bricks to put on top of the plastic to hold it down, and created a small greenhouse under here. Now they weren't this big. In fact, most of these plants weren't but 1 foot or 2 tall. Every one of them died to the ground, and out of 20 or 30 plants that I had in here, most of them survived. A couple, I want to say maybe 3 to 5 did not. There's actually a video on that, and you can see it in my garden tours through that time period, how much did survive. We uncovered it, brought it back. So what's going to happen here is when I see cold in the forecast, I'm going to be coming out here and I'm going to be trimming all these plants down below this cattle panel, and we will be prepared to put plastic out here when cold comes. And when the cold does come, and I mean cold, I don't mean 30 degrees. I don't mean 1 degree Celsius, but you know, 1 degree below zero for Celsius or 30 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean a real freeze, a hard freeze. We'll come out here and cover this. And these things, I am confident these things will survive again. But what do we have in here? First off, we have this huge, massive Tabasco plant in here that's just been producing. I got so tired of harvesting these. I started telling other people to come. Just come, please, take peppers. A lot of fatale. I'm thinking about taking out a few of these fatale plants and swapping them. I think we want some better jalapeno plants, and there's something else I want to try to get a naga plant this year, something really hotter than the habaneros that we were growing. But under here we have Scotch bonnet. We have a branch of Scotch bonnets right here that were delicious. I love these. That's the Jamaican pepper. There is some jalapenos off down underneath that Tabasco plant. There's another jalapeno somewhere in the middle here. Somewhere in here there's another jalapeno. There's also a bell pepper plant. I think that might be the bell pepper right there. Now that I think about it, looky here. I actually see a Chinese giant bell pepper growing, and I need to pay better attention. That's an orange bell. Look at there. That's a beautiful orange bell pepper. I need to pay closer attention to that. I have not given that the TLC. It's a little bit more crowded in here than I think I should have let it get. But there was another bell pepper in here somewhere that I forgot. I do not see it anymore. I'm just kind of feeling around here, see if I can find something. But that orange bell right there actually looks really good. Oh man, that looks great. This is Bowtie is going to enjoy that. We have these red ones here are the peri peri that have a really good flavor, especially when we fermented them. They are awesome. And we're going to be marinating some chicken in the fermenting brine from the peri peri. So that's kind of exciting. The more fatale. I have a lot of fatale. I want to say I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6 fatale plants, and I need to cut those back. I had way too much fatale. We had a shishito down here. Whole story about that. Kind of scared Mrs. Bowtie off on those. I've got a giant jalapeno, which is probably the kind of thing we're going to go to. I'm probably going to try to save some seeds off of that. And back in here, we have somewhere. Oh yeah, here, look here. These are habanero. This whole branch are habanero. And we've eaten a few of those. I haven't eaten one of those on camera yet. I know. I got to do it. I think I probably promised someone. You tell me if I did. So next to the pepper bed, we come into this kind of mixed bed right now. I did have a zucchini growing in here, and it, of course, got eaten by whatever it got eaten by. And I planted these Brussels sprouts, and look at them. They're all bitten off. I think these were slugs that bit these off. I need to get out here and figure this out, but I'm kind of at a loss as to what to do. So we may be without many Brussels sprouts at all again this year. Now I think these 3 things, I believe they are garlic, elephant garlic from the previous year that might have been cloves that might have been left in the ground accidentally. Some of the cloves of garlic did not fully develop, and so one of them may have fallen out. So these look actually quite beautiful. As far as garlic is concerned, I'm just letting them go ahead and grow. I do want to point out, hey, we have garlic growing. In fact, where did it go? Okay, so look here. There's a little nub right there. That is an elephant garlic. If I come over here, there's another nub right here, even bigger. There's even a big fat one right there of elephant garlic. And I just noticed there's an elephant garlic sitting on top that looks really bad that I didn't get buried, doggone it. I'm going to have to go over there and bury that right now before I forget. But look at that big one right there. That's a new elephant garlic already popping up. There's a small one right there that's already popping up too. So we are going to have elephant garlic this next year. And it's coming up now before the cold of the winter. And that's okay. That's what they're supposed to do. Garlic can take it. So I'm a little sad I missed this thing. Ugh, it's squishy. This is not going to grow. I had put it here to plant right here. Let's see if it'll grow. I don't think it will. It's a little mushy. It shouldn't have been sitting on top like that. That was not good for it. Bad, 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 bad. So anyway, there are 11 elephant garlic in here, and I'm hoping for the best. I'm not hoping for anything with these Brussels sprouts. And then it takes us into these Roma tomatoes. And these Roma tomato plants, folks, these were planted in March of last year. They went through the spring. They produced a few tomatoes, not a lot. They produced a few. And then we had the super heat of the summer and humidity. I put a shade cloth over these. These looked kind of dreary. In fact, here's a picture of what they looked like at a certain, I think 150 some odd days. They looked terrible. I didn't pull them out because basically, not because I knew that they would do anything better, but because we were traveling. We were busy taking care of some personal business, and nothing happened here. And then they started producing after the heat broke, and we got a lot of pounds of Roma tomatoes out here. We've preserved some pasta sauce, and we still have a few on here. I don't have a lot of hope for them to come, but if the weather holds out, we might. I mean, there's some decent looking ones in here. There's some small ones. That one there's kind of small, but I don't know. There might be a pound left between here and in the front yard, because we have some more up in the front yard. There's some good size ones over there. You can see that bag there has a decent one. That has a decent one in it. So we'll have to see if we can continue to get any more out of here, if the weather holds, if we don't have a frost. Maybe. You can see that Everglades tomato that's 16 foot away, because this cattle panel here is 16 foot. It's growing all the way over here. Okay, up across the top in bed number 2, there's that trunk right there. Hard to believe. I just can't get over these Everglades tomatoes. But so yeah, and look how many of these there are. There's just tons of them in there. I did a short about that not long ago. Just amazing how much we're still getting off this. And you can see they've just fallen on the ground because we're tired of harvesting them. Oh my goodness, we've harvested so many of them. It's mind-blowing. So anyway, that's bed number 3, the final of the tomatoes. Tomatoes, I think I'm not going to plant tomatoes in this area to try to do some rotation. But they have come all the way over here and taken over the goji berries, which is what all these sticks underneath here are. These are goji berries. I will get when this tomato finally gives up the ghost, I will. I'd like to track some of these branches down. Oh, yeah, look here. I was talking about new blooms. Look at that. Still, January 7th is still making new blooms. So it goes from there, up here, the 16-foot cattle panel, all the way over there to the trunk, which is way over in that corner. Blows me away. I just can't get over that. Needless to say, Dave the Good did not steer us wrong with these Everglades tomatoes. They're wow, amazing. But anyway, so that is the raised garden bed tour for January 2024. This concludes all the garden bed tours for January 2024. A lot going on still. This North Florida weather is really interesting, but the fact that we are on the peninsula surrounded by the bay over there, the Gulf of Mexico over there, it's amazing what we can do here. And of course, if we didn't do this, we might have a high tunnel, or there's so many different options that people do. I love that Living Traditions Homestead has a high tunnel that they're growing food in throughout the winter. And so is Jess over at Roots and Refuge. I mentioned her earlier. So lots of stuff going on, lots of people. I hope you enjoyed the new aerial photography and videography. Kind of give you an idea of, this is not a huge piece of property, folks. We don't have acres. We grow a lot of food, hundreds of pounds on our little space here. And I just tool around out here. I like coming out here in the morning when I can. I can't say, probably about half the days I come out first thing in the morning, and I spend anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes out here doing something. Sometimes it's just walking around trying to figure out what needs to be done next. But yep, one of those airplanes from our airports around here. Anyway, you can do this. Anybody can grow something, even if you're in an apartment. We were in an apartment with a 14-foot long patio that we grew 31 tomato plants on in grow bags. So there are ways to do things. Do some research, figure out what you can do, and have fun. It's so fulfilling to be able to grow your own food. It offers so much resilience. Sometimes, when things are uncertain, when food shortages happen, when the food system is broken and we have a hard time getting good food, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We go back to our roots and do it ourselves. So obviously it's gotten a little colder out here. I've had to put on a sweatshirt. It's dropped a few degrees. We're getting down into evening. I think we're probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock. The sun begins to really set around here about 4:30. But we're going to continue on with the mulching. I've got to get a new vehicle. I actually have a new vehicle that's going to get worked on next week. It's another Durango, and it's a V8, so it can pull the trailer. I'm very happy about that. Hope as soon as that can get done, we'll be getting compost in here and filling up some of these beds that desperately need it. So, yeah. Anyway, that is January, and I'm kind of looking forward to see what February brings us, because if we don't get the freeze that we sometimes don't get, we could have a lot of survival, which means next year could be like these things that are still alive. I wonder if this Everglades tomato plant can live a second year. That would blow my mind. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna give it every opportunity it can get, though. So anyway, for those of you who have subscribed, I thank you so much. You helped grow the channel to what it is today, and it's exciting to me to have people along in my garden. Before I started the YouTube channel, I had other people in real life coming in here and looking at what we were doing when we were building these beds right here, and it was fun. I really enjoyed that, and people would come and kind of get inspired by what I'm doing and do some stuff on their own. We had a whole bunch of lemon trees here that I gave away. The previous owner had started them, and they were in pots, and I gave away, I forget, maybe a dozen lemon trees. And I know some of those are still alive, but I don't know how many rosemary plants I've given away. I've given away pomegranate. I've given away loquat trees. We gave away a lot of tomato plants from seed starts that we had left over. So I enjoy being able to give to others too. So you just find out what brings you joy, and that's kind of what we're doing here, and that's what I'm sharing with you. This is my own journal, and if you get inspiration from this, or encouragement, or maybe you learn something a little different. I watch a lot of YouTube videos myself, and I've learned a lot of this from YouTube, and I continue to go back to YouTube for videos and some of my favorite people that I feel that really speak to me, and I enjoy that, and so I encourage you to do the same. Find people that speak to you. Find people that you can relate to. Sometimes, and it doesn't mean they're in the same situation as you. Now, like Chicago Gardener, she has a townhome in the middle of Chicago. She has 2 rooftop gardens she's planting. here I am. I have a 1/4 acre here. I learned stuff from her. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's Roots and Refuge and Living Traditions Homestead, and they both have acres and acres and acres. They raise cows and pigs and horses and everything else, and have gardens that are hundreds and hundreds of feet long. And I can learn some things from them too. And so. You know, you got to open your mind and try to do the research and figure out what you can do, and don't be afraid of some of those things like, well, that's not my garden. Well, it doesn't have to be your garden, but there's still stuff to learn. Those tomatoes grow the same way in my garden as they do on a 100-acre property or a rooftop patio. They grow the same way, and some of them are the exact same tomatoes, but our weather is different. Some of you have hotter than me, some of you don't. Some of you are cooler than me. In fact, I saw a fella from Australia, or somebody from Australia just commented the other day. I'm curious where they're from, because I want to find out what their weather's like. But anyway, that's the growth of the channel, and y'all are supporting that by subscribing to the channel, by commenting to the videos, clicking the thumbs up, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Don't miss anything that we're doing here. Sometimes I get doing a project and you won't see the results for a month or 2 or 4 or 5 later, because we're waiting for something to grow or waiting for something to happen, and it does or it doesn't happen. And so that's where the subscription becomes important, because you get to find those results. But if you think this is at all informational, educational, inspirational, or entertaining, please click the thumbs up on this video, and share it on your social media with friends who might like to garden. We all have friends that like to garden, or maybe they want to and they aren't yet, or they're just trying to figure out how to get started. And we talk about these cardboard on these raised beds here. Well, I go through a whole process. I have a video that I recently put out on my corn patch just over there that shows how to make a new garden bed anywhere. Now, we are on sand, so we have really good drainage. Our property is actually one of the higher, in fact, ours and the property on the other side of that white fence, ours are the highest 2 properties on our whole few blocks here. And so our drainage is the best. We're very fortunate with that. There's other challenges. If you have a lot more clay in your soil, then raised beds are really good because they will drain out better, which is good for the plants, of course. And so a lot of things you can do, a lot of things you can learn, and you can do it. If you want to, you can do it. So anyway, I have rambled on enough here. Appreciate having y'all here. It just gratifies me, the comments that I get to see, and people telling me what they're doing in their gardens, and then people have questions. I love answering the questions too. So keep them coming, and keep coming back. We'll see you again. Have a blessed day.